Now guys, this topic that I want to talk about is the future business structure of car makers, car industry. Now, let me put it very simply. If you read a little bit about car making and you thought, wow, BMW, you know, Mercedes, Volkswagen and all these huge companies, Toyotas and all that, wow, they must be highly profitable. No, they're not highly profitable. In fact, it is a cutthroat business. If given the choice, they would have opted to do other businesses that can make way more money than going through such difficulty, you know, going through legislators, environmentalists, blah blah, and all this to mobilize the world. Do you know one thing? The car makers, right, they are actually doing the world a favor. They are in an industry that is very high tech, very difficult to operate in, and they hire so many people, but they enjoy so very little profits. Yes, car industry. And they always get bullied by parliaments all over the world, legislators, politicians, because politicians are dumb. They all bully car makers just because it is the most obvious thing and it is the most visible thing that they can do to perceive as helping or protecting their people. You see, without car makers, we wouldn't have cars. Without car makers, we wouldn't have personal mobility. We cannot go to work. We cannot function. The stupid politicians cannot go to parliament to screw car makers. Without cars, all these are impossible. Car making and supplying cars to humanity is a very big portion of what makes humanity works at the first place. Okay, the value lies in moving people, allowing people to traverse more than 30 or 40 or 50 km per day. That is the contribution of car makers towards the world. Without cars, I can't even go and meet my clients. We cannot even go and get things done. We cannot meet our suppliers. A lot of things wouldn't be possible without cars. Okay, let's establish that. That's the first thing. Now, car making, who is the most profitable per car? Let's look at per car. How much money they make per car, right? Porsche. And what's the percentage? What's the margin? 17%. That's all. Yes. Most car makers out there, they make what, 4%, 6%, 7% margins. For car makers like Proton or Perodua, given their size, given the output that they make, if they are independent, that means if they invent their own engines, they design their own car, their own engine, and comply to the strict emission standards and the safety standards that politicians put forth, they would have bankrupt. They wouldn't be big enough to do this because the margin of producing cars is so thin that it's a business that is not worth getting into. Okay, it's as if you are running a factory that produces toothpaste. Yes, it's as if you are making toothpaste, and all you can do to make sure you survive is to continue making toothpaste, and you fear that one day people stop buying your toothpaste and then your factory will close and then you go bankrupt, and then hundreds of thousands of people will be without jobs. Yeah, at least people need toothpaste daily, right? But for car makers, it's a cutthroat industry. Why would they want to? I mean, it's really, think about it. The factory is so big, such huge running costs. They hire so many people, they cannot afford to stop their factory, right? They have to keep on producing cars, and then downstream, distributors will buy out the cars, you know, rent a big plot of land, build a building, and then sell cars, hire salesmen to make that little profit. Very, very difficult business to be in. But that is because the nature of their current business structure, right? They sell you a car outright. You cannot afford the car outright. You go to the banks, the bank loan you money, and then the bank sit there and earn the interest, and they are even more profitable than car makers, right? And the car makers down the value chain, they can only earn by margin. That's why car makers earn so little money. But after Volvo debuted the subscription plan that copies what the telcos are doing, then the car makers will have a very, very healthy profit margin if they twist this around. If their survivability doesn't rely on continuing to produce cars, and their survivability relies on signing up subscribers, that would make a very, very big difference to car making industry, to car makers, and it will benefit the whole value chain. It not only benefits the car makers, it also benefits us as consumers, as car owners. Let me explain why. Now look at telcos, right? Telcos, what do we buy from them? We subscribe. What do we subscribe? A plan, a number, okay? And then we stick with them almost our whole lives. We barely change telcos, right? Now think about it this way. What if now you are 30 years old and you will die when you are 80 years old, and then you go to a telco and then they sell you the line, the number and the line, the data plan, the phone calls. They sell you this outright for your entire life. How much will you need to pay? Say for example, 1 month your phone bill is 100 ringgit, okay? 1 year that will be 1,200 ringgit, okay? 50 years, that will be how much? 50 years, that will be 60,000 ringgit. Can you afford to go to Maxis and pay them 60,000 ringgit? You cannot afford to pay that, right? What do? And then the banks will come in and say, we offer loan. We have higher purchase plans for telco lines that you bought outright. Just like a car, you buy a car outright, right? So for the line, you buy outright, and then it is 60,000, and then you cannot afford it, and then the banks will loan you 60k, and then you submit your documents, and then they charge you an interest, and then they earn the interest, right? Now, what if cars, from the current plans that they are doing, right? Cars, the business structure currently sounds exactly like what I mentioned just now. Telcos selling you a line outright. What if car making turned to telco plans? Say for example, the new 5 Series, brand new 5 Series, subscribe to the brand new 5 Series now. How much is it per month? Per month is 3,500 ringgit, okay? Do you need a down payment? Nope. Do you need to worry about service and maintenance? Nope. Do you need to worry about selling your car when you want to change to a new car, whereby the market price of the car might be lower than what people are willing to buy or the bank's willing to loan? No, you have none of those worry. So you sign up the plan and then you pay BMW 3,500 ringgit a month. You sign a plan of 2 years, because after 2 years you get bored with the car, you want to change to another car, right? So you subscribe to the car and then you use it, and then you spec your car, what color you want, what kind of leather you want, because you are on the tier 1 subscription plan. You subscribe to a brand new 5 Series and you pay 3,500 ringgit a month, okay? After 2 years, you return the car to BMW and then you say you look for another car to subscribe, okay? This time, you feel like subscribing to a Panamera, but you cannot afford a brand new subscription plan. Doesn't matter, because someone else has already subscribed the Panamera for 2 years, and then they return the car to Porsche, and then Porsche refurbished the car, and then Porsche has a cheaper plan for a 2-year-old Panamera subscription plan. How much is it per month? 4,500 ringgit. Hey, reasonable. And then you upgrade from a BMW 5 Series to a Panamera, and then you subscribe for 2 years as well. After you subscribe for 2 years, you return the Panamera to them, and then they refurbish the Panamera again, and then they roll out the Panamera as a 4th year subscription plan. Someone else will go to Porsche. How much is a 4-year-old Porsche Panamera subscription plan? Oh, the 2-year-old one is 4,500 a month. For the 4-year-old one, we can give you a special deal for only 3,500 ringgit a month for a 4-year-old Porsche Panamera subscription plan. Now, are you seeing what I'm getting here? Every single car became an asset of the car makers, became an asset that continuously generate income for them. You can go to Porsche or BMW and then you ask for, I would like to subscribe to an 8-year-old BMW. Sure, mister, we can do that for you. An 8-year-old 5 Series costs you just 1,000 ringgit a month to subscribe. And then you use the car. You're driving a 5 Series and you're only paying 1,000 ringgit a month to use it. You don't need to come up with an upfront down payment. You don't need to worry about returning the car back and looking for another car. You are paying for the value of using it. And car makers get to keep the cars as assets, as income generating assets for them. And this will completely change the entire car industry into a profitable industry for them. And then they don't need to get pressured by always having the need to produce brand new cars in hundreds of thousands of numbers of them and then enjoying very little profit. This would give the whole industry a very new perspective, and it will help owners like us. I can subscribe to a Ferrari if I want to for 1 month or half a year, and then I can't afford it, I return the car to them. Right, that is how it could have been. Interesting, isn't it? And I think this is the future business structure of car makers, and I think it is fantastic because we leave the banks out of the question. Visitor parking. Isn't that interesting? And you don't need to rely on the banks. Thank you. So 25 Block A sana. Okay, thank you. Thank you. So you don't need to look at the bank and say that the bank will tell you, oh, we do not offer loans for cars that are 10 years or more. No such nonsense, because we don't deal with the banks anymore. We deal with the car makers straight. The car makers will say, okay, a 10-year-old subscription plan is this much, this much. That's it. Clean cut. That will be brilliant. And by then, those of you who complain about depreciation will not make noise anymore, because there's no such thing as depreciation anymore. You're paying for the usage of your car, not ownership of your car. Cheers.